Hey guys, today we're going to talk about John Deere Z900 series zero-turn lawn mowers. Now, these are commercial lawn mowers that go from pretty low-end, mild machines all the way up to crazy intense, high-end, very expensive lawn mowers. This machine here is a Z930M. It does have the Mulch On Demand deck and it does have the suspension seat as far as options go. We're going to go over the different options, talk about the different models they have quickly just to show you the different engines that are on them. We'll also talk about the different engines as far as if you can get EFI or carbureted and the brands, stuff like that. Stick with us as we walk through this unit top to bottom. Stay tuned. All right, this Z930M that we have behind us lands basically right in the middle of John Deere's commercial line. You can get better, you can go up to the Z930R, which has a little bit different hydraulic transmissions. You can move down to the 920, even down to the 915E, but you could go all the way up to the 997 diesel, which is a $25,000 unit. If you look around, you can find these at a great deal. They are made in the USA. Important to me. I like that fact with them. They do have a lot of different features that are cool on them and it's very intuitive for me. Let me walk you through this unit, and at the end we're going to talk about the different engine options and the different models that are out there. This model is not an EFI model because the EFIs come with a Kohler motor. I wanted the Kawasaki. All the Kawasaki's are carbureted. Let's dive into this one, show you the different options in everything that it has on it. In 2018, John Deere upgraded the seat manufacturer so you get a nicer seat. Now, this is the suspension seat on here, so there are different things to it, but this model in lineup has you sitting fairly upright. So all your controls will be right in front of you. You can lean back slightly, and you do on the higher end seat have an adjustment for lumbar control. You have adjustments for forward and reverse and for all the different things. We'll go over that specifically, but the commercial series are shorter to a point, but more upright so you can see around you with very little motion. Everything's designed to be very intuitive. Now, this seat has a lot of things to it that some people might not see, so let's come in and look directly at the seat. The suspension seat is costly, but well worth it for something you're going to be on for long periods of time. The armrests are rubber overmolded. On the bottom, they have an adjustment so you can move them up and down and they will adjust a long way. You can pull these out of the way, push them down. Pretty simple. On the left-hand side, you have a lever here that's going to adjust your lumbar support, and on your other side, you have a lever here that will adjust you forward and backward as far as how far you want to lean. In the front, you have a dial where you can dial in your weight. That will adjust the springs for the up and down motion. And then all of John Deere seats currently have the Comfort Glide system, where if you just push this lever to the right, this seat will move forward and back in its suspension. Or if you push it all the way to the left, you can move this model and adjust it to what fits you right for your height. I don't use the Comfort Glide much. If you were in a large field or moving around, I could see where that forward and back motion would give you more suspension with the up and down. But the reality for me is I like to be pretty planted and I'm not riding in that intense of ground. When you're in the driver's seat, all of your controls and warnings are to your right. You have the key to start the unit. You also have your throttle control. Kawasaki units will have a choke. The Kohler EFI will not have anything in this position. You have a different switch that is basically just an on-off switch for your PTO, which is nice. It's not the pull-up anymore. And then you have your deck system. And there's an arrow on this side. You can't see it, but I can turn this deck anywhere from 5.5 inches all the way down to 1. And it will reset at that level each time. Now, if I go up to transport mode, I can just lock it into place and we can drive. That gets the deck way up out of the way so we can pull this onto a trailer or drive through any terrain that we need to. Push the foot pedal in and drop the deck back down to its position, and it'll automatically go back to wherever you set it. You want to change it, you just lift it slightly, put it into a new position, and they adjust in 1/4 inch increments. On the driver's left-hand side, you have access to the fuel gauge for the 12-gallon fuel tank. As far as the user's experience, John Deere has a cup holder down here so you can easily get to anything that you want to have as far as a beverage. And they also, on the M series, have a handbrake. Now this handbrake is going to need to be engaged to start the unit, and if you want to leave the unit running and get off. It will not allow the PTO to stay running, but it's just going to allow you to, address something that you need to in the yard or move around without shutting the unit off. And of course, to turn the PTO on and move, you need to lower the handbrake. That is the M series. The R series will have a foot brake right here, and it will basically do the same thing. As far as this unit with the M.O.D deck, as you're mowing, you have a handle here that will change you from typical blowing everything out the chute to mulching. Everything here is adjustable on the bottom, and it's very neat to look at. So let's try to get a view underneath of what happens. The Mulch On Demand deck works with a lever that is easily accessible from the driver's seat, so you can flip it into mulching mode or open it back up without leaving the driver's seat or without turning on or off the PTO. Anytime you want to flip it in the mulch mode, you just push the lever forward and it will close off the chambers around the blades and allow you to mulch. When you're done mulching, you can flip it back and it will continue to blow all the grass out the side like normal. This system is fully adjustable and it does work very intuitively. As with anything that does multiple different things, as far as this case, it mulches and it will blow everything out the side. It doesn't do both of them wonderfully. It does each of them okay. As far as blowing everything out the side, it does a wonderful job with it. It just doesn't have the same high lift blades that the normal 7-iron deck would have on it without the Mulch On Demand kit. So in weaker grass, you might leave a few stragglers uncut. In the mulch mode, it works great for mulching as usual, as you would expect, but some of the chambers will leak a little bit, especially with leaves, and if you're mulching a large amount of grass, they will actually leave a small line on the chute side. So it doesn't mulch as good as a full mulch kit would on a normal 7-iron deck. I guess it's a compromise of if you need to switch back and forth, you're gonna do one or the other well, not one or the other great, but you're not going to be limited. The Mulch On Demand deck currently has a dealer cost just north of $700, and when you combine that with the suspension seat that is just north of $500, you can increase the price of these units drastically pretty quick with those two options. So make sure before you pick one that you're going to be happy with exactly what it does. But that suspension seat is definitely something I'd highly recommend if you're going to spend a lot of time on this mower. Now next you have the option between EFI Kohler and Carbureted Kawasaki. Let's go to the back and look at our Kawasaki. You're not going to see much difference between the Kawasaki engine or the Kohler engine in the back. They both have a Donaldson filter on them, which is going to be common that you'll see on any side-by-sides, high-end ones anyway, and commercial lawnmowers. Definitely something nice. This is just a dust port that you can allow leaves or anything else that's in there to get out without fully taking this apart in the field. Everything else that's here is pretty easily maintained. You have an oil cooler on the side. Your oil dipstick is going to be slightly different between EFI and Carbureted as far as Kohler and Kawasaki, but also easy to look at. Each unit is going to take somewhere around 2 quarts of oil, and all that stuff's in the manual. You do have the air-cooled models that will have a fan pulling the air down, so you want to make sure that you don't have leaves or anything bunch up on the top of this motor. But realistically here, everything is pretty easy to maintain, and John Deere set this up so that these engines will last a very long time. When it comes to the choice between Kohler EFI and Kawasaki Carbureted, I think the easy choice for most people is to say, hey, I would like EFI. But in this case, it seems that the EFI has had more trouble long-term, and the Kawasaki has been absolutely bulletproof. Our EFI model that we have works great. It has power, it's got everything you need, but it seems to have trouble with the air-fuel mixture every once in a while, where it will physically just fill the barn that it's in full of smoke when you start it up. It will clear up and go away, but that seems to be a common problem. And if you ask the service departments, they see more of the EFI models in the service department than they do the carbureted. My suggestion to you is go with the bulletproof Kawasaki. All the Z900 series are going to have a solid rubber front tire. Each Z900 series is going to differ in the size of tire. This is a 24 by 12 on the 930 model, and it will get larger on the upper end models and smaller on the lower end models. Obviously, you can also order an optional Michelin wheel. When you raise your seat, you have access to the battery, your hydraulic fluid reservoir, and all Z900 series come with the Tough Torque heavy-duty transmissions. Transmissions are a big deal on these zero-turn mowers. Zero turns are pretty basic, and the hydraulic transmissions that are in them are basically, next to the motor, the lifeblood of what makes this unit run. Now, the Tough Torque HD models, they're pretty freaking awesome. And they give you a ton of control and even allow you to creep a little bit if you'd like to when turning. A lot of misconceptions with zero-turn mowers is that they will make mowing your lawn really fast if you have a lot of trees, but a lot of people pick these units up, not these, but a lot of people pick units up from Home Depot, think they're going to do great, and end up just tearing their yard up when they turn. Now, there is different ways to turn these mowers, but you never want to just leave one tire locked and do a complete circle. And in some cases, the lower end transmissions make it actually pretty hard for you to control that stick and keep one wheel creeping or allow you to do a 3-point turn easily. It's hard to explain, but trust me, take some of these for a ride and then get on some of the lower models and just try to make a 3-point turn or try to make a nice sweeping turn without locking up one tire. Trust me, you'll see the difference. The owner's manual is very interesting in how it spells some of this out, and I wish some of this was in their material that you could look up online easily. So if you're interested, download one of the owner's manuals for the 900 series, but you can see the 915E has a Kohler CV742 747cc engine. The 920M has a Kawasaki FX730, which is 726cc. These are not used again in this area. Once you move up to the 930, you'll see you have a Kawasaki FX801V 852cc. Now, while there's some differences internal, the Z950, which is more horsepower, uses the same 852cc, but it's called an FX850. So there are different variations here, and you can see that the EFI engines in this are both Kohlers. If we switch the page, you can see the Z960s all have the 909cc Kawasaki. What is also interesting is the weights. Z915E is going to weigh anywhere from 1,100 to 1,178 pounds. A Z930M is going to weigh anywhere from 1,278 pounds to 1,362. And as you continue to move up, a Z970R is going to be 1,300 to 1,415 pounds. So these are not light lawnmowers. So when you're looking at the Z900 series John Deere zero turns, there's a lot of different models, and in some ways you get to a point where they can be confusing and or intimidating. My suggestion to you is to walk into the store knowing what size deck you'd like, if you want the Mulch On Demand deck or not, if you decide that the suspension seat is worth the $500 or not, and then look at tire size. Do you need the R series as far as the cross-ported hydraulic transmissions, or can you get away with the more basic features of the M model? And when I say that, there's not really much difference between the two as far as features, but when you start to look at the marketing on the two, John Deere will try to convince you that the R model is definitely the way to go, but I'm not sure that that's money well spent for everyone, especially for people who is not in a very hilly market. Now, when you're really out looking at zero turns, sit on them. In fact, most of the time, ride them, get them out. A lot of dealers will have used models, and that is one of the ways I really like to test these out. find a 300 to 700 hour unit that's sitting on their lot. Take it for a ride. See what rattles, see what works well, see how the hydraulic controls work after that amount of time. Get into the machine and drive it. They may even let you borrow this. Now, if you're a commercial guy, John Deere actually has a program that if you bring yours in under warranty, they will give you one of the other models there so you can keep mowing. I would suggest John Deere change the name of that to Keeper Mowing as far as warranty, but they don't. They have a different language for it. I'm not sure, but that's going to apply basically to the commercial models. And I'm not sure if they're going to do that for your homeowner residential people, because they're trying to keep the guys who are working in business. And I think that's huge. Me, I'm going after the residential guys here in this video. The commercial guys can come in and look at this and maybe see what's out there, but most of them are going to really know what they have. A lot of you guys who are commercial are brand loyal. I want something made in the USA. I want to be able to get parts. I want to be able to have a dealer that's going to take care of me, and I want to be able to go somewhere and get things done easily. With that said, I'm going to back up here. If you're a residential guy and you're looking at the Z900 series, back up and look at the Z700 series. You have 1 year extra warranty. Z900s come with a 3-year commercial warranty. Z700s come with a 4-year residential warranty. That could be a game changer for you. The deck is a little bit lighter weight, but realistically, still a great deck. Still looks the same, still almost the same machine, just set up a little bit more for residential. Beyond that, you can drop all the way down to models seen at Home Depot. If you're looking at the John Deere at Home Depot, I'd suggest going to a John Deere dealer. Please. Give them the business, keep them in business. But if you buy one from Home Depot, you can always take it to a John Deere dealer to get serviced or buy parts from a John Deere dealer. So you're not left high and dry. And I think that's a huge part of what John Deere has done with Home Depot. They've still kept the dealers in the loop, giving you a place to get service because you're not getting service at Home Depot. I digress. Commercial machines from John Deere, in my opinion, they rock. Are there other great models out there? Yes. Are all of them made in the USA? No. I like the USA part. I appreciate you sticking with me on this video. I will gladly answer any questions that you have below. I will have this unit with me forever, or at least the next 5 or 6 years. So we'll compare this unit to other ones that we have that might come in or out, just to give you an idea of cut quality, what you have as far as quality versus price, and other things like that. We appreciate your time watching this video, guys. Give us a like, subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.